You know, there's a pattern that I've noticed with women with the fact that they go absolutely insane for athletes. Athletes who are professional, athletes even who are not professional, just people who are competing, men who are competing. This attracts women so much. And I know this for context because I grew up with athletics. I didn't actually start athletics until I hit 8th grade. And then from there, I just dove into the world of athletics. It molded my mind, it molded my body. As I developed myself in the gym, it expanded my physique, it expanded my physicality. And it showed me specifically why women go crazy over athletes. And it's the signal that these athletes broadcast. It's not just their muscles. It's not just their fame, to be honest with you. There's an aura that athletes have that women are extremely attracted to and men respect tremendously, especially rich men. Rich men respect it. They wish they had this. A lot of them don't. And the ones that do are just superhuman, right? If they have the athlete's aura. So we're going to break this down into these different types of signals and how you can replicate this if you are not a pro athlete, because let's be honest, a lot of us were not gifted to go pro. I was not gifted to go pro. I was good. I was very good at my sport of basketball when I did it. I was good at pretty much all sports that I played, but I never was able to go pro. And I want to just tell you a little bit more about these signals. So the first is physical dominance, which is the biological signal that athletes are able to broadcast that attracts women. So, you know, women's biology, they're hardwired to respond to low body fat, high muscle, which a lot of athletes have, to be honest with you. It's not everything, but it's part of it. And you have to understand that these are like fertility and testosterone cues that men are able to signal to show that they are ones that should be chosen for reproduction. These are like biological signals, right? Things that are just hard coded. Like women can't avoid thinking in that manner. The next is explosive movement, right? Explosive movement, everything that they do. They're very just astute with moving quickly, doing things at a fast rate. They're not slow thinkers because they were not trained to do that. Athletics, it's a very quick sport. It requires quick thinking, requires quick execution. And this gives you that hunter warrior capacity that women are looking for, right? When women are attracted to the hunter brain, the hunter brained man, the man who is constantly hunting for resources when it comes to business, hunting for, you know, just anything at that point, having that desire, having that edge, right? That's that physical dominance that you have. The V taper and the strong jawline that you get when you get into athletics. See, a lot of guys, you may say, well, there are athletes who they end up falling off after a certain period of time. I can address that later on, but a lot of the reason for that is because they've left the arena of competition. They were not able to translate their athletic life of competition into the life, the real life of competition, because what you do on the field or in the court or in the octagon is extremely similar to what you do in real life. There are what I like to call life athletes, people who are dominating life in an athletic manner, right? Taking those same things. But that V taper and that strong jaw that you get as an athlete, it creates almost like a general health indicator that you are a healthy person. You are somebody who is going to outlast many people in life to where you are competent enough to have children with it. It all comes down to reproduction, by the way. Everything when it comes to female attraction comes down to reproduction. And athletes show this. And so evolution has trained women to see these signals and think, okay, this man can protect, he can provide, and he can pass on strong genes. That's what women are filtering for subconsciously, something that they can't say out loud, but that's a lot of their attraction at the time, especially feminine women. Now, obviously, women who have gone through massive hormonal changes, when you look at birth control, when you look at all these things that Western society is pushing a lot, I've noticed even in Romania here, birth control is not a big thing. A lot of women are not on birth control, right? In fact, I met my wife and I remember talking about the whole birth control thing, and she was like, yeah, that doesn't exist for me. I don't take birth control, right? And that was very interesting to me because I was like, wow, that shows like, and she was a hyper feminine woman, who also had independence, but knew how to be feminine around a masculine man, right? And was looking for that polarity of masculinity. So that's physical dominance, which is more of the biological signal. The next thing that people don't realize is the tribal signal, which is status and social proof. right? When you look at athletes in primal tribes, the warrior or the athlete was high value because he won resources, he won protection, and he won prestige through a group of men, right? A group of men. This is what signaled that tribal signal. So modern sports mimic that. You look at the stadium, which is the tribe, right? The people who are spectators who are watching. You look at teammates, and that signals brotherhood, right? Being in a brotherhood, having the capacity to expand the power that you have through a brotherhood. You look at fans, right? Fans are more of like the status reinforcement type, like people who are actually watching you because you are important and you're competing in an arena. This is very, very important in life. So when a woman sees an athlete surrounded by admiration, their brains go, okay, well, other men respect him. Other women want him. He must be worth desiring, because obviously women have the hive mind, right? They have the hive mind where they will follow whoever it is that other people want because it shows that you are desirable. They're not going to desire you if nobody wants you. They have to see some potential that other people want you. And athletes do a really good job of this because they're surrounded by people who admire them completely. And this is the tribal signal. This is the status and social proof. And this is not just for pro athletes. This can be done in the arena of life as well. Building a personal brand, leading men, right? That's the same exact mechanism. Having a brotherhood, having men who you can call for anything, even in local areas, building a network of men or having a friend group that's very, very close to you. Women want the guy who has that friend group. You see, it's different because the masculine women want the guy to be isolated so that they can control him. Feminine women want the guy to be surrounded by other men because it shows, one, expanded competency, and it shows that he's not a weirdo. Like, you're not a weirdo. Her biological markers, her biological just inclinations say like, okay, I can trust this man because he has a group of friends around him. Now, is this universally true? Absolutely not. But you see how athletes or men who have this group, this pack that they run with, show that there is some security and there's some safety to them because other men want to be around them, right? And obviously the dynamics of that tribe make sense too. Are you the quote unquote alpha male of that tribe? I know alpha male is something that's pushed away nowadays because of the negative connotation of social media influencers and how they've weaponized that word. But I mean, the alpha male is essentially the leader of the group. Like, are you considered the leader of the group? Are you considered somebody who is important to the group? Like, are you a core component? Are you somebody that they hit up all the time? They always want you to be there, right? And this is an inner status hierarchy that will exist when it comes to being the top dog in your group, right? So that's important. The third is aura under pressure, right? This is the psychological signal. Everyone thinks aura is all about like looks maxing and being in the best shape. That is an aura amplifier, but the actual aura comes from the mind. And to build unstoppable aura, which I will get into in other videos, you have to understand that comes from being forced to perform under pressure, right? And that comes from a calmness that you have under pressure, under what society would think is pressure, in sports and also in life, right? My aura just multiplied after my first game that I ever had. I was so anxious. I remember going into the court and seeing just like a fan of people and being extremely just like jittery and starting to compete and starting to have that calmness under pressure, right? That fight or flight mastery. That is what builds unstoppable aura. That's why when athletes go into the real world, it's nothing because their fight or flight responses have been trained to compete in very, very, very competitive environments, in high stakes environments, right? Which gives them that calmness. Even when things seem chaotic, they're very, very calm. They're breathing very deeply. Their breath isn't shallow because they've trained themselves that way by competing. You can do the same thing in real life, by the way. In real life, you can take on high stakes things. You can go into business, which is a very high stakes game, right? You can go into all of these different arenas in life and start to compete and start to get better. Going into a place where there's a lot of women and going up to random women and talking to them, for the modern man, believe it or not, is a high stakes thing. And because of that, that creates that aura around you when you've mastered that fight or flight during those high stakes environments, that you are calm under pressure. The next is confidence in front of crowds, right? And this is presence. being there when crowds are around, being fully present. When you're in a social environment, you're fully present. You don't escape the environment because you're afraid to be present, because you're afraid of all of these people who are talking, who are watching. You're very present in that moment. You're literally locking people in their eyes, not in a weird way, but in a way that I'm here. That creates unshakable aura, right? And a lot of athletes have this because they're used to competing in crowds. A lot of public speakers have this as well, which that's another arena, that's another game of life that people go out and play, where they have hundreds of people watching them and they're fully present in the moment and they don't leave that moment. They don't try to escape. All right. The next is unshakable body language, which is signal dominance. All of the micro expressions that you have, which are pretty much a domino effect of how you think in your mind, right? If you have a very strong self-image and you have very positive thoughts, you've been able to balance out your thoughts to where you have very positive thoughts and a very positive self-image. Your micro expressions will show that. They expose you for who you are on the inside, which people don't realize. When you have insecurity, when you have anxiety, when you have all these things, the micro expressions will start to show that. Your body will start to tense up, right? You'll start to dart your eyes everywhere, right? Which shows that you're uncertain. Your mouth will not be relaxed. Your eyes won't be relaxed. They'll be very frowned, right? That relaxation is that micro expression that shows unshakable body language in terms of who your internal state is. It's basically the signal, the teller of what is going on internally that people will catch up on. And they'll see the incongruence. If you're trying to be this confident guy, but internally you're not confident, there will be this incongruence and your aura will shatter, right? So the aura is very magnetic and women feel it viscerally because they are very astute at looking at the internal, at feeling the internal of what's going on inside of you. And athletes do a really good job of having that magnetic aura because internally they've fought in the arena and they've learned how to build their internal confidence, which allows for them to perform at a high level, right? And the next is the masculine signal, which is discipline and obsession, right? Women go crazy over this stuff, but discipline shows that you have security and reliability because the athlete lives by ritual, right? Everything they do day to day is a ritual to improve themselves. Their bodies prove it as well. Like you see their physique, you've seen that, and this is why the whole like physique thing attracts women because it is a discipline signal. Right? It shows that you have higher value in yourself and their schedule reinforces it. They're always fucking busy. They don't have all of the time in the world to be around a woman 24/7. And a lot of men, they're trying to almost like artificially manufacture that when in reality, you just need to have obsession over something, a passion and an intensity over something specific, whether it's a business that you do, whether it's a hobby that you do, whether it's a specific thing that you do in real life. If you need an obsession, you need something to obsess over. That will give you life. That will give you aura. That will give you that masculine signal that you are a man of importance, which attracts women deeply, right? And women crave a man who has direction and purpose because it shows that he's a leader. It shows that he has a bigger, larger than life ideal that she can fall under. He has a world that she can come in and enter. Women don't want you to enter their world. They want to enter your world and they want to be able to be a character in that world. But if you're an NPC, if you're somebody who's just living in a different world that's not yours and you're living a script that you've never written for yourself, you will consistently be that guy who does not have that obsession because it is not what it is that you want to do, right? So an athlete embodies this in a very obvious and physical way. And you can replicate this, again, by living your life with discipline, by having specific things that you do every single day to be able to move you forward, by having a specific topic or a specific hobby or a specific just objective that you obsess over every single day. That's literally all you can think about. That is such an attractive thing to women. I've noticed this. When I've been at my highest obsessive points in life, I've gotten the attraction of all types of women across the board because they're like, this man is driven, this man is ambitious, right? And so the last thing is the hidden signal that people don't realize. And this is scarcity and time horizon. Like athletes have mastered this to a T, right? Where They're like the closest archetype, the closest modern archetype of that like warrior hunter, that ancient warrior hunter archetype, which by the way, I always talk about archetypes because they echo over time. They're patterns of masculinity that exist over time. It's just a categorization of these archetypes, right? And you have to understand that athletes embody physical dominance, they embody tribal status, they embody presence under pressure, and this masculine discipline all in one package, all in one man that makes them highly desirable. Now, you may be saying, well, Martel, I'm not a pro athlete, so how the fuck am I going to attract women? Well, you don't need to be in the NBA, you don't need to be in the UFC, you don't need to be in the NFL, you don't need to be in any of this shit to do it, to broadcast those same signals. The end goal, and this is my entire philosophy distilled in a short sentence, in actually 2 words: train everything. Treat life like it is a sport. Train everything. Train your mind, train your body, train your finances, train your business, train your spirit, train your social skills. Train these things. Live your life like a fucking athlete, like a pro athlete. Have some discipline in your life. Have a lot of discipline in your life. That's how you can become an athlete in this life. You don't need to go pro. You don't need to be a guy who was in the NFL to be able to attract that type of women, to be able to have that essence to you, to attract higher level people towards you. Higher level people are attracted to the athlete archetype because he embodies all of these things that they may not have because all they did was chase the money. They were in one arena. You need to master all arenas. Right? And this is what I do in my mentorship, by the way. I've been able to distill this all in a way that makes sense to the modern person that's watching this, where it's like, I help you train everything, right? And that's what I'm going to be going into. I'm going to be going into deep dives on training protocols that you can have for different areas of your life to be able to expand, to be able to be that pro athlete in life that people are attracted to and that people respect, and that you finally feel like you're living life the way that it needs to be lived, because athletes go through the full spectrum of emotions all in one day. They've lived hundreds of lives in one day playing one game in an arena full of people. And that's what you need to do as a man. You may be dormant right now where you're not competing in anything. You're in a 9-to-5 job where there's no competition. You're doing the same shit every single day with no purpose, no direction. You're just doing it for money. That's survival state. But you need to expand beyond that. Start a side business or just start competing in the marketplace as an independent person, right? That will start to trigger a lot of that competitiveness. Now, what's interesting is testosterone starts to kick in when you're competitive. That's why athletes have high testosterone, because they're in that competitive state. A lot of men have low testosterone now because they're not competing. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting around, right? And you need to start competing in a way that boosts your testosterone, which then shows that you have a signal of fertility and you have the signal of just desire by women. Testosterone is a high desire signal for women, right? And you can ooze that. Your pheromones can show that shit, right? So it's very important for you to train everything and be multidimensionally jacked. That is a whole entire component of my entire life. That is what I've realized has allowed for me to propel myself to the position that I'm in now, socially, and even from a financial perspective, and even from an attraction perspective. I'm married, everything's good. A lot of people are asking, where's my ring? I'm getting a new one. I'm getting one, all right? I'm getting a fucking ring. Jeez. But yeah, you don't need to be a pro athlete, man. Like, to embody all of this, you need to embody the athlete's signals, which are biological, tribal, psychological, and masculine signals that they have. Now, I hope this video is valuable for you. Again, links will be in the description if you want to tap into any of my resources that I have to be able to help you in a specific area of life. Or if you want to take this to the next level and you want to live life like an athlete, you want to be able to train everything, and you want to go under the guidance of me as your coach to be able to train everything, or mentor, however you want to call it. The link will be in the description to reach out to me directly. You'll be able to see everything that's laid out and what it is, the actual mentorship that I have. It's not a course. It is truly a one-on-one access with me to be able to train you in all of the areas that you're weak. A lot of people come to me, they may have a weak body, and I need to train them to have a strong and aesthetic body. A lot of people, they're not good at approaching women. They're not good with the whole like male-female dynamic. I can train them to be able to be good at that. A lot of people will come to me because their mind is fucked and they need to rewire their mind. I can train them with that. I train them with everything across the board to be multidimensionally jacked. But I will drill down on the specific weak points, much like an athlete when he goes to a coach. The coach, he may be really good at ball handling and drills, but he sucks at shooting. The coach is not going to have him do ball handling and drills all day. He'll have him shoot all day, right? To improve that weak area that he has. Or maybe he has very, very low IQ when it comes to like seeing the game and seeing what plays to execute. He will help him with his IQ. So that's essentially what I do, right? You can almost think about it as, yeah, like a coach, literally like a real coach. But again, I hope this video was valuable for you. Let me know if you want me to go deeper into this athlete effect that I've come up with, this concept of having the athlete effect, replicating the athlete effect in your life to be able to get the status, get the recognition, get the drive, and get the attraction that it is that you want, because I believe that is why athletes are desired by women more than any other archetype, more than the rich billionaire archetype, more than anything, right? Women love athletes, and you can become one in your life if you do what it is that I just told you. So I appreciate you. Again, links will be in the description if you want to tap in with me. No pressure, no gun to your head, no nothing. I am not a guru. I'm just a man who is trying to provide as much value as possible for free, of course, but I also have things where you can take it to the next level and become elite in different areas of your life. So I appreciate you. Train everything, become multidimensionally jacked, and I'll catch you on the next video.